What's going on, everyone? This is Realtor Joe Samona, and thanks for tuning in to this episode of Your Cup of Joe. We want to protect our most valuable assets. We all have insurance, whether it be a car, a house, or any type of insurance. Today, I have with me someone that I've done business with for a very long time and someone who's always treated my clients and my family very well. And I'm very happy to have with me Annette White with Insurance One. Annette, thanks for coming on.
Good morning. Nice to be here.
We appreciate it. Annette, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? What got you into the insurance business? And
Sure. Mhm. Since high school, I've been in the real estate business my whole life. I started in the office as a receptionist, sold real estate myself. I've also done mortgages. So, insurance was just a natural progression because I have a very extensive background both in real estate and finance. And I love insurance, and I've been doing it for 24 years.
well, I didn't know that you actually sold real estate and did mortgages.
Yes.
You learn something new every day. Annette, we watch the news and I get asked the question. I'm sure you get asked the question. People talk about it. Insurance rates are going up across the country. What has caused the rates to go up? And is there any insurance law that limits how much rates can go up per year or per renewal period?
So, yes, it's we're seeing unprecedented increases in rates since about September. Insurance companies last year hit a catastrophic threshold for claims being paid out, and they had to do something drastic and increase rates. So we're seeing rates increase due to inflation. The cost of cars are becoming much more expensive. Home building materials, labor is very expensive. And then the biggest thing that's driving it is due to global warming and these excessive weather patterns that we're having. We're seeing wildfires that we've never seen before. We're seeing hurricanes that are much stronger than they used to be. Flooding, everything is becoming more and more extreme. So what's happening is insurance carriers are experiencing catastrophic losses due to these increased weather patterns. So, to answer your question, yes, insurance carriers have to go to the state to get approved increases. So they have to file new rates with the state and get those approved. And what had happened in states like Florida and California, where the losses were so extensive, the insurance carriers pulled out until they could get increases approved to go back into those states to be able to modify their rates to accommodate these extreme weather patterns that those states are having. So, yes, we're all seeing increases on our home and auto pretty heavy from 25% to 50% increase.
Wow. So in those states specifically where there's catastrophic things that occur more often, such as California wildfires or Florida hurricanes, if you know this, are there separate insurance policies for hurricanes or wildfires? Because I believe in California, it's a completely separate policy for, like, for example, earthquake insurance. Are there different riders or different policies that would cover catastrophic situations, or are those usually covered, generally speaking, not speaking to everybody's policy as, every single person's policy, but or are those generally covered under your typical homeowner's policy?
Right. So, for instance, in Florida, with hurricanes, flood insurance is what comes into play with those massive floods. So, those are a separate policy. On your homeowners policies, you can get earthquake endorsements on them, wind and hail endorsements, and things like that. So the endorsements you put on your policy can vary from state to state depending on what your risk is.
Got it. And do you write only in Michigan?
I do. Yes. Yes. So I'm licensed to just be in Michigan.
Now, being with Insurance One, what is what are the benefits of working with an independent agent such as yourself versus going to a company directly? Beside the personalized care and attention that the clients deserve, what are the benefits that some people may not realize or know?
Right. So there's two kinds of insurance carriers. It's called a direct rider, which is like an Allstate or State Farm that they only write for that company. Then there's an independent agency, which is what we are, and we have multiple carriers. So we have up to 12 different carriers that we can write with. And the advantages of working with an independent agency is one, the main one is that we get to shop all the carriers to see who have the best rates versus when you go to a direct rider, they only have one price. It's whatever their program is what their program is. The the other advantage of being an independent writer is nowadays insurance carriers are getting very strict with underwriting. They're scrutinizing a home much more than they ever have in the past. So they're very concerned about the condition of your roof, are trees hanging over your home, what kind of animals are in the house, what kind of dogs, and all of those things. Different carriers have different tolerances for different things. So when one carrier doesn't accept a property due to a certain condition of the risk, then it allows me to go to the other carriers because different carriers have different nuances for what their underwriting rules are. So that's the biggest advantage is that flexibility to be able to still keep your client and be able to tailor a policy to what their needs are, depending on what the risk is.
Absolutely. And I'll add something to that. You're, aside from, the amount of time that you've been in the industry yourself, the knowledge that you have is worth a ton as well because you've pointed things out to me, to my clients, on things that others wouldn't point out. For example, and things that I've learned that I am able to take and then assist my clients who, for example, may not want to shop it out and be stuck, with whoever that they were dealing with. And things, for example, like loss of use, which is, if you're misplaced from your house due to an eligible claim. Some of the companies have like a very low, or some of the policies have a very low coverage amount on that, but to raise that coverage amount is relatively inexpensive. Or glass replacement on your auto, instead of making a claim against your insurance under, just a standard comprehensive claim, get a glass only coverage, like a full glass coverage. And that's a minimal amount as well. And, it's all rated differently. Actually, it is all rated differently, right? Like collision is rated differently than a comprehensive claim,
Or
than
a
a
glass
than a
claim, yeah.
glass claim. So they're all rated differently. Some people say, you know, I was in an accident and I was not at fault. So some people have a difficult time realizing that there's a difference between your insurance driving record
Mhm.
as well as the state of Michigan's driving record. Is your insurance driving record and the way that they rate you, is that uniform across the board, or does each company have their individual procedures and policies?
Yeah, sometimes it can vary a little bit between one carrier to the other. They can rate something more heavily than another carrier. For instance, you can have an at-fault accident, and I go to one carrier and it's a couple $100 surcharge. I go to another one and it's even more. So again, that's why it's nice to have multiple carriers, is because when I'm rating a client, you can see what the different tolerances are and how much those incidents will affect their rates. So, a lot of people have a misconception in Michigan because we're an not at fault state, that if you're in a not at fault accident, it won't count against you. And that's not what not at fault means. What it means is that your insurance will take care of your vehicle and you, regardless of at fault. In other states, insurance carriers sue each other during a car accident. If you were at fault, you'll pay that other person's claims as well. But in Michigan, not at fault means there isn't that lawsuit between the two drivers. It's their insurance will take care of them and your insurance will take care of you.
So because Michigan's a no fault state, does is what you just said, does that mean that my insurance company, if I was not at fault, would not go after the other insurance company, even though they paid me out, they wouldn't later go after the other insurance company? Is that what that means?
Right. The only difference is if you're parked, if your vehicle is parked, the other person's insurance will pay it because it's considered more property damage then. But yes, they don't go back and forth between each other. So that's the whole idea of being a not at fault state. But if you have a not at fault accident, it is still surchargeable on your insurance. And that's where a lot of people think it wasn't my fault, therefore I shouldn't pay the claim. But the reality is the insurance company still paid out a claim, so there will be a surcharge even if you're not at fault. It's
Well,
just not as big as at fault.
another benefit of dealing with an independent agent such as yourself is, although someone, for example, may be purchasing $1 million home, let's say, one company may write that policy, but you know that that company is probably not the best fit for this house and for that client. And at the end of the day, you're not just, number one, because of your work ethics, but number two, because you're an independent agent as well. You're not just trying to sell the person on one company. A lot of people think that insurance agents, once they sign you up, you don't hear from them ever again. I personally think that couldn't be further from the truth. I think people call the insurance agents all the time. I've had my own clients call you often. Tell us about your involvement, you know, 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road. Obviously, there's a claims department, but are you involved in anything in the process? How are you able to help out as an insurance agent down
Yeah.
the line?
Yeah, I always tell my clients, I am your agent for life. And if we need to move carriers down the road, I'm happy to do so. So that's one of the advantages is that uh, their service is consistent. Right now, insurance carriers rates are going up so much. So I'm fielding calls all the time from clients and I like to review their policies with them, see if there's any changes that we can make to help save them money, look at all their coverages, make sure we have the proper credits on there. Have they got an alarm system since they've moved in? Did they put a generator in? Have they put water sensors in? All of those things add additional discounts. So I always like to make sure that all those discounts are applied. And sometimes those things can change since they've moved in, they've put a new roof on, those types of things. So yes, I'm always prefer to be the contact person for my clients. We have a whole customer service team that is also able to help when I'm not available. But um, you know, pri- I'm always wanting to be their point of contact.
You're always available. Doesn't matter the time, doesn't matter the day. You're always available, which is me as a realtor. When I am referring somebody out, I am, I'm basically putting my word and reputation on the line that, hey, this person does great work. So we, I work great with you. You work great with a lot of other agents. And it's a testament to like your character, your work ethic, and you just, you're always available, similar to me. I don't think there's a single time people call me when I don't return a call almost immediately. So that's definitely something that, you know, I don't take for granted, but I also appreciate at the same time. What are some of the more important or common endorsements to have that, for lack of better words, people are sleeping on, that you may review their policy because they're coming over to you to rewrite a policy that you don't see on there, that you're like, whoa, how is this not on there?
Yeah. Some of the most important endorsements people need to have first and foremost is water backup. And that protects your basement if water gets in. It's probably one of the most common causes. And a lot of people only carry five or $10,000 in water backup. But if you have a beautiful custom basement that's got the bars and the pool tables and all the beautiful finishes, you should really have more than five or 10,000, because just your cleanup alone is going to be five or 10,000. The replacement, a lot of people spend 50, 100, $200,000 on a basement. So water backup is super important. The other thing is service line coverage. That's your sewer lines from the house to the street. That's a really important coverage to have. Policies in the past did not have that coverage, so you want to make sure that you do have that coverage available. You want to make sure that your jewelry, if you want jewelry coverage, that you keep those items up to date and decide what needs to be covered, what needs to be deleted. Um, Water sensors are another big thing that insurance carriers are getting into. These are just small devices that you can buy on Amazon or wherever you'd like. They're super easy. You put them under your sinks and your hot water tanks and so forth. And most of them are Bluetooth activated, and they'll activate your phone if any water leaks start to happen. So prevention is really key right now to insurance carriers. They're all moving deductibles up. They want homeowners policies to have a $2,500 deductible. Most of us are carrying $1,000 deductible on our car. So $1,000 deductible on our homes that are worth five or 600 or $1 million seems inadequate. So most insurance carriers are going to be pushing our deductibles up to a $2,500 minimum, 5,000, wind and hail, those types of things. So it's just good to make sure you have all that coverage, and it saves good money too.
Absolutely. Some people have their policies are, 6 months long and they renew every 6 months versus renewing every year. Is that correct?
It just depends on the companies. Some companies write auto on a 6-month term, and some do a 12-month term. And then homeowners is always a 12-month term. So when I can, I try to write a client on a 12-month term, just because every 6 months your rate could change. So
That was exactly the question, and that's definitely a benefit of that. Doesn't matter if it's a renter's policy. I assume you have a renter's policy, a obviously home and auto. You'll also write jewelry policy. What about um, ATVs, watercraft?
yeah, our company is a very full service company. We do everything from landlords policies to all the toys to fix and flip properties. When you have investors that are buying homes and they need to fix and flip them, we have a great program for that. Home and auto, I can write your home right from your first time home buyer right up to your multi million dollar homes and luxury homes. So I have a whole array of products that are available. I'm totally full service. So
Yeah, and for those watching or listening, you hear people say, I have a lot of products and I have a lot of things available. And then you may start to think, what's the catch? There's no catch. You don't need, a certain blood type and firstborn child to be able to get these products. It's just Annette offers more services and has more companies that she's able to run the pricing with than other insurance agents. So it's not a catch. You're not like, tied into something where it's going to seem like off the wall. No, she just has more available, and really you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't get it priced out with several different insurance companies. And here's the thing, Annette will tell you why, this company is not good, or this company may not be the best choice for your situation. And she will be upfront with you. Annette, you've provided us with a lot of great information. I'm going to put your information down below in the podcast. I want to thank you so much for coming on today.
thank you. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to
Ha-
talk.
Happy to have you here. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Your Cup of Joe. Stay tuned for the next one.